childhood on a rural farm in Virginia during segregation?
Well, I grew up on what we call a subsistence farm, which means my father raised everything we ate. He had a third-grade education. My mother was a college-educated school teacher that gave up her career to raise her family. It wasn't an easy life, but at that time, of course, I didn't have much to compare it with, except I knew there had to be someplace better than this. No electricity until I was 8. We never got indoor plumbing, and we got a party line telephone when I was a teenager. So the joy was us listening to other people's conversations.
You described segregation as being put in your place.
Yes, and there are probably some people out there who understand what that means doing the South then. You didn't challenge too much. People knew, quote, their place, and many people were reluctant to challenge too many things at that time because it may have affected your job, it may have affected your home life, and there were times when people could have been even brutalized or attacked in some way. So it was some ways subtle, but you obviously knew it was there.
And what struck me most about you was your determination not to settle. Many would have been so happy to get that government typist job that they would have stayed there until they retired or that agency went out of business, but you saw better.
It's probably that government typist job that made me realize that this was not for me. I remember you're probably referring to the typing pool that I worked in the federal government, where there were about 30 people in that pool, 2 men and the rest were women. I was the youngest one there, and many of them had been there for 10, 20 years. That day, one day we were at lunch, and I just said to her, I can't do this anymore. There's got to be something better, which is when I finally decided that my mother, my cousin, who had those segregated schools, we did not have the best of equipment, the best books, but we did have dedicated teachers. Teachers who were determined to make us learn. They wouldn't give up on us. They knew our family, they lived in our community, so they could all report things to the family. And I think that may be one of the issues we're dealing with today. The students frequently are not connected with the teachers, or the teachers not connected with the families.
Or the community.
Or the community, everybody.
And it was a tight-knit community. You didn't get far.
Even if it wasn't quite accurate, the parent side took the side of the adult, and you had to prove that it wasn't quite act right in school or did not study. It was reported. So having those teachers that were dedicated, a part of your community,